YouTube, it's Dawn again, and welcome to my channel. And for my subscribers, I cannot believe I have over 3,000 subscribers. Like, that's insane. To you guys, thank you and welcome back. I know I've been very inconsistent with making videos, and my apologies for that. A part of that is not knowing kind of what content you guys would be interested in hearing from me, so it's a bit sporadic. Anytime I feel like there's something I can share, I make a video. If there's something that I don't think that you guys would like to know, or I don't make a video. But for a lot of you guys that have been watching my videos, you know that I moved from London 3 years ago, so there's been a lot going on in terms of getting settled back in the States and all of that. But I recently had a new kind of project that came about, which I'm really excited about. So I bought a house, which is a very adult thing to do for me, which is a goal. It's been a goal of mine for quite some time, and it's really exciting. But I wanted to make this video because there's a lot of things that I didn't know going into buying a house that I feel like I was misled on, or that like a lot of people are misled on, or not even educated about for doing the process. So I thought I would make a video on it and share my experience and a little bit of knowledge, I guess, to maybe it will help you guys. And I always consider myself quite resourceful. I research a lot of things before I kind of dive into it. And even one other thing, I even got my real estate license, right? And a lot of stuff, I guess, just kind of blew over my head because I got my real estate license before I actually had gone through the process of buying a property. So a lot of it I really didn't quite understand until you go through it yourself, and then it's like, aha. So anyway, these are some of my top kind of things that I did not know before buying a house. So number one is, I think there's a lot of emphasis on, oh, you have to have 20%, you have to have 20%. And I think it keeps a lot of people from actually purchasing a house because they feel like they haven't had a large enough down payment, that 20%. And with the cost of housing going up, it only makes that 20% that much bigger. But what I will say is you can definitely buy a house without having to put 20% down. And on top of that, you don't have to have an FHA loan in order to put less than 20% down. You can get a conventional loan and not put 20% down. I think the minimum you have to have is like 5%, which, people who are struggling to get that 20% and have good credit, because in order to get a conventional loan, you do need to have pretty good credit, I think above like a 700 or so. But that's an option, and it's quite stressful trying to come up with 20%. I did not come up with 20%. Now, one of the arguments against buying a home with less than 20% down is because you end up having to pay PMI. Now, there's tons of videos out on YouTube that explains what PMI is, but basically it's mortgage insurance. It's the lender's way of insuring themselves for the fact that you don't have enough skin in the game. So if you have less than 20%, then you have to pay a fee in order to get the loan. However, once you do reach that 20%, if you have a conventional loan, once you hit that 20%, then of the loan being paid off, or the value of the house being paid off, then that PMI drops off. So the difference between FHA and a conventional loan is the FHA loan, that PMI, that private insurance, never goes away. So I would always recommend, if you can get a conventional loan, do it. There are sometimes different interest rates depending on FHA loan and a conventional loan, but again, you're not stuck with that PMI for the life of the loan. So that's one of the biggest kind of misconceptions I think a lot of people have is like, oh, if I want a conventional, I have to do 20%. Or, you know, if I don't have 20%, then I have to do an FHA. That's not true. So, just a little tidbit there. Also, I have another one is the interest rate. So, this was new territory for me. Like, I've shopped around for rates for like when I bought my car and so forth. But for this, it was quite interesting because, one, I did not know that if you know your credit score, you are able to call around to banks, credit unions, whoever offers loans, and ask them what your rate would be. So if you say, hey, I have a credit score of, 700, and what would be my rate for a house? And then they would be able to, they get ask you some other questions, but they will be able to give you a interest rate. Now, I always thought that you would have to actually apply for a pre-qualification before you got a rate, which is incorrect. Because when you do a pre-qualification, they actually run your credit. And if you just call them and you know your credit score, and you have some very high level detailed information for the questions that they ask, they don't have to run your credit to give you an idea of what rate you will have. So definitely shop around. Don't necessarily do the whole application for pre-qualification. You can just give them, know your credit score, and then they'll be able to give you an idea of what kind of rate you will have. Another thing I did not know is that there's a different interest rate for whether you're buying a house versus a condo. So my house is considered a condo. It's like a townhouse. And I was shopping around for rates based on a house. And the rate for a condo is actually a little bit higher. So that is also something that I did not know. Another thing I did not know is that you can actually buy down your interest rate. And this got it was a little interesting for me. I'm still not 100% clear on the ins and outs of how that works. I decided not to do it. But when I was shopping around for rates, I asked, how can I get a lower interest rate? And they were like, well, you can buy down a rate. And I was like, buy down a rate? What does that mean? Sounds like a lot of money. So basically, when you buy down a rate, say you have an interest rate of 3.5%. and you would like a lower interest rate. Well, they'll say, hey, we can give you a 3.1% interest rate, but it's going to cost you 1% of the value of the house. So it's like, ooh, that's okay. Or the sale price of the house. So you have to come up with a little bit more cash in order to buy down your rate, but then you have to calculate, is it worth saving that much on the percentage rate in the long run, and how long will that be before you can actually recoup, and it makes a difference. So like I said, I didn't choose to do it, but I did not know that that was an option. It's completely up to the buyer how they want to go about this, but I chose to have an idea of what I wanted my monthly mortgage and taxes and insurance, all of that, to be before I went to get my pre-qual letter. So I basically told them, hey, I want to be able to pre-qualify for this. So when I go and look for a home and I put in an offer, they already know that I'm pre-qualified for this. I don't want you to tell me like the max amount that I can qualify for, because then that kind of gets in your head, and then you start going out and you're shopping for houses that are at the higher end of the range. So that's what I did. Obviously they look at your debt to income ratio and all of that kind of stuff. So there's some kind of pre-planning that you need to do prior to shopping for a house. But don't be intimidated by it. Just ask a lot of questions. Don't be intimidated by it. It's completely doable. Hey, if I did it, anybody can. But so yeah, don't be intimidated. Ask questions. Also, there was another one that I was going to to mention. So another one is always, I would say, have an inspector or inspection company in mind prior to even making an offer on a house. The reason being is because once your offer is accepted, it seems like things go like bam, 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 bam. And you don't want to delay things like trying to find an inspection while you're already in that option period. So option period, for anyone that doesn't know, is the period between when your offer is accepted. It's a window of opportunity for you to back out for whatever reason. So you're like, I'm getting cold feet, I don't want to do it. If you're within that option period, it could be up to I think 10 days or something like that. Then you can back out and be okay. You can have a longer option period. It's whatever you guys agree to, you and the seller, pretty much. But yeah, already have your inspector in mind. Know how much it costs. So whenever, what kind of lead time they need. So whenever your offer is accepted, you can go ahead and schedule that ASAP. If you're shopping around for rates and all of that, definitely have all of your, W-2s, all that information, have it ready to go. Because nowadays, what I've noticed is when you're applying for pre-qualification, they send you to this portal and you just upload all of these documents. So if you have all of these documents in some type of digital form, whether you scan it, whether it's a copy that you have just on your hard drive, have it ready. So I created a folder. I think this is shaking, sorry. I created a folder and I just dropped in everything, like my W-2s, my tax return, because I didn't know if they were going to need that or not, copy of my driver's license, proof. I don't even know what else they need, a birth certificate. I don't think they needed the birth certificate, but yeah, you can look it up online, what documents do banks need for pre-qualification. Have to go back and forth with the lender, and then kind of chasing up different documents that you may need. I was traveling a lot during this period, and it really helped that I had a laptop with me. So I had all of these things in digital form. So if they needed something extra, like a bank statement, I was able to give that to them. If they needed, statements from any investment accounts that I had, I was able to give that to them. So just make sure you have all of that ready to go. So yeah, those are my top things that I did not have a clue about before I bought a home, that I feel like people are a little bit just misled, or they're not really told about prior to. I hope you guys find this video interesting and useful. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you have any questions or want more information about any part of the whole home buying process, let me know. I'm happy to share my thoughts and my experiences with you guys. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and until next time, bye.